Hello there. Welcome back to yet another Night of the Movies podcast. And in these podcasts, I talk all things movies and TV and whatever I want, whenever I want. And in today's podcast, I'm reviewing The Creator. But before I do that, I should say what I say at the start of every podcast I do, which is, if you are watching this podcast on YouTube, hello to my viewers. But if you prefer to listen to your podcasts, well, guess what? You can with this one too, at Night of the Movies on Spotify. And if you are already listening to this podcast on Spotify, and you there to podcast listeners, then you can also check this podcast out visually on my YouTube channel at Night of the Movies on that platform as well. Likewise, wherever you may be watching or listening to the podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the podcast, of course, and leave me some feedback on things to improve on in future podcasts, because there's always things to improve on, and feedback is, as ever, much appreciated. So, let's get into it. The Creator. So this is a new film from Gareth Edwards, and if you don't know who he is, he previously directed Monsters, which came out in 2010, which I must admit I haven't seen, but he also directed the Godzilla film, which came out in 2014. I actually quite liked that film. I know it's not for everybody, and I can completely understand why. You know, Godzilla is only in like 12 minutes of that film, but I quite enjoyed it. You know, it's got Elizabeth Olsen, it's got Angela Johnson and Bryan Cranston in, and I think it has some really, really good elements to it. I'm not saying it's the best Godzilla film, but I enjoyed it. And Gareth Edwards also directed Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which came out in 2016. Although there is some debate to how much of the final cut of Rogue One we can actually credit to Gareth Edwards, because it's been confirmed that Tony Gilroy, who ended up being the showrunner of Andor, which Andor is a prequel to Rogue One, so, you know, there's been all this stuff and all these reports saying that Tony Gilroy took over Rogue One in the later process, in the late stages of the production of Rogue One, in the post-production and the reshoots and whatnot. And so, how much of Rogue One we can actually credit to Gareth Edwards, I'm not entirely sure. Yet, his name is on the final product, his name is there when the credits roll on Rogue One, and I think that film is brilliant. I think it's probably the best thing Disney Star Wars have put out, and I'm a Disney Star Wars fan, by the way, and I think that is the best film they put out. So, because I'm a fan of his Godzilla film, and because I'm a fan of Rogue One, a Star Wars story, I was naturally excited to see what Gareth Edwards had in the pipeline, what he was doing next. And this film, when I saw the trailer for it, it got me intrigued. It got me excited. A new and original sci-fi epic with John David Washington. You know, John David Washington, which many people might know from the likes of BlacKkKlansman, and he was also the protagonist. He's quite literally called that in Tenet, and he's probably the best part of that film, in my opinion. He is a phenomenal actor, and I love watching him and stuff. And when I saw his protagonist of this, I was like, oh, you got my attention. Also got some other great cast members. You know, you had the likes of Zimmer, Ken Watanabe, was also in Gareth Edwards' Godzilla, and Alison Janney, which many people might know as CJ from The West Wing, but she's also been in various other films and TV shows. Yeah, you got this huge cast, well, not a huge cast, but this notable cast, and the trailers looked very good. Over the past couple of months, when I've gone to see a big blockbuster, maybe not even a blockbuster, I had it with The Lesson when I went to go and watch that at the cinema, I've been seeing the trailer for this film, and it's constantly grabbed me. The trailer has. And the Google plot synopsis for this film, for The Creator, goes as follows. As a future war between the human race and the artificial intelligence rages on, ex-Special Forces agent Joshua, played by John David Washington in the film, is recruited to hunt down and kill the Creator, the elusive architect of advanced AI. The Creator has developed a mysterious weapon that has the power to end the war and all of mankind. As Joshua and his team of elite operatives venture into enemy-occupied territory, they soon discover the world-ending weapon is actually an AI in the form of a young child. And that's basically the plot synopsis for The Creator. And honestly, I hate to say this because I was so excited to see this film. I was really looking forward to it all week. This film did not work for me. It was not my sort of film. And that's not to say I don't think it has merit. I think it is a breathtakingly and beautifully realised film. The way it looks is gorgeous. Watching the cinema was just amazing. It was an experience. The way it looked, I loved just looking at the film because the cinematography is on another level and it's some of the best I've seen in a sci-fi movie, period. And thank God for John David Washington as the protagonist in this film, because the film, in my opinion, I'll get into some more detail shortly, but the film, in my opinion, is slow and it is dull and it's not as exciting as it should be. And yet, you have John David Washington as the main character, and he is bringing some charisma to the film, much needed charisma, much needed. He's bringing something to the film that was just needed because it's him. It's not because of the way the character's written. It's because of him, and I love him in BlacKkKlansman, and I really liked him in Tenet, as what he mentioned. Best part of that film, in my opinion. So, when he's in this film, I was just thinking, thank God. And all the performances are good as well. I really liked Alison Janney in the film, seeing in a very different role than what I previously seen her play. But at the same time, the film, for me, although it's got a lot of good moments and it's got some great ideas and the opening is great and the finale works really well, though for me it was a little too late, but even though it's got a lot of really good things about it, I was let down by it. I was disappointed in this film because it wasn't as exciting and as engaging as I wanted to be. I didn't find the storytelling that engaging. I couldn't really get into it, and it had a lot of slow moments. And I can see some people saying that the slow moments weren't slow, and actually they built on the sci-fi elements of the film and whatnot. I can see somebody really loving this film, but for me, sci-fi is fast-paced, it's exciting, it's bombastic, it's got these, atmospheric moments, and it builds up tension with these fantastic musical scores. When I think sci-fi, and I know this might be cliche and whatever, but I'm going to say it anyway, when I think sci-fi, guess what I think? It's on my t-shirt. I think Star Wars. That is the pinnacle of sci-fi for me. I love the Star Wars movies to pieces. I love the Star Wars world. When I think sci-fi, that's what I want. That's what I want. I want exciting sci-fi. I'm not saying that I can't like other sci-fi. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that Star Wars has ruined sci-fi for me and I can't like anything that's, sci-fi and not Star Wars. I'm not saying that. I'm a big fan of the J.J. Abrams Star Trek films. I love Aliens and the first Alien. Actually, though, I don't love the first Alien. The reason I don't love the first Alien is because it has some slow moments. And I prefer Aliens, the sequel, to Alien because there's that one point in Aliens when everything starts ramping up and like, wow, this is what I wanted from the first film. This is what I wanted. And so I can understand somebody absolutely loving this film and somebody getting so much out of it. I can really understand that. And thinking it's one of the best films of the year and one of the best sci-fi films of the past decade. But for me, I struggled with it, particularly in the middle of the film when it just felt directionless. It didn't really feel like it knew where we wanted to go, and it felt like we were, taking these unnecessary amounts of time to get places. And I didn't really get invested in any of the characters. The performances are all fine, some really good performance in there. Gemma Chan's quite good, I haven't really mentioned her. And Ken Watanabe, whenever he pops up, I was interested in him, but mainly because it was Ken Watanabe, the way he was playing that character. But the characters I never really got interested in, I never really got invested in. And the two leads, so you got John David Washington, so you got, I can't speak, so you got John David Washington, as what he's spoken about, as the lead in the film, but then you also have this kid, and the bond between them works, but the only reason I think it works is because it's them two, and I think the performances from them give off a lot more than the script does. I was watching this film, and I was I was just slowly and slowly becoming more and more bored by it. And I hate to use the word bored, I really do, because I hate when people describe films as boring, but I'm just being honest, it wasn't as exciting enough for me to really get into it. And it does have a lot of good elements, as what I mentioned, but I'll tell you what one of the most disappointing things were for me with this film. The Hans Zimmer score. Hans Zimmer, when he does score films in the past, even for bad films, like he did the score for X-Men Dark Phoenix, and that film wasn't good, but I still like the score for the film. Even when Hans Zimmer does bad scores, he still makes, no, that's not what I mean, sorry. Even when Hans Zimmer does scores to bad films, they can still be good scores. And the thing is, his score for this film, when it's actually used, is really good, but the score wasn't as effective as it should have been. The Hans Zimmer score felt misused. You have Hans Zimmer scoring your film, and I'm not the world's biggest fan of Hans Zimmer. I've spoken about that plenty of times in this channel. I'm not the world's biggest fan of Hans Zimmer because I think some of his themes, are not particularly distinctive or memorable, with the exception of the Pirates of the Caribbean theme, take that aside, which he didn't really do, by the way, although he kind of did. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that now. I'm not the world's biggest fan of Hans Zimmer, but when you have him scoring your film, you think there's going to be a lot of tension, because, he's scored many Christopher Nolan films, and look at the way the Hans Zimmer score adds to films like Inception. It just makes it so much more of an atmospheric and tense and suspenseful experience when you're watching those films because of the Hans Zimmer score, and you don't get that from this film. At least I didn't. When you get towards the end, the Hans Zimmer score starts heightening emotion, at least it's trying to, but by that point I was like, yeah, too little too late. I mean, I like the finale of the film, I like it, but I just, for me, the Hans Zimmer score was misused, and it didn't make it nearly as intense and as atmospheric as I was expecting it to be. With Hans Zimmer scoring a film, you expect it to at least be atmospheric and add character to your film, like he did with Dune in 2021. But I was disappointed by the Hans Zimmer score for this film as well. I think it's good when it's there, but it's misused and it's not as effective as it could be. And I should also say this. Maybe I didn't watch this film in the best environment. I've got to be honest. Maybe I didn't watch this film in the best environment because I went to the cinema to go and see this in the middle of the day, thinking there would be not many people in the cinema with me. I was wrong. My cinema was half full of school kids. And they were just talking and laughing throughout the film. And it took away from my experience, because when you get some emotional and dramatic moments in the film, I just heard them laughing or talking, and I couldn't really get into what was going on. So maybe if I see the film again, I will think about it differently. I will see it in a different light, because I won't be watching it with school children, or hopefully not anyway. Hopefully I go to cinema again to see this, which I probably won't, by the way. But hopefully, if I go to cinema to see this again, school kids won't be in the cinema with me. But still, even the parts of the film where they weren't talking, because they weren't talking the whole way through, even the part of the film where they weren't talking, I was just not getting into it. I really wasn't. And, there is a lot to admire in there. And this is clearly a Gareth Edwards film. This is clearly from the same guy who directed the 2014 Godzilla film. That feeling of dread that you got in that Godzilla film that was done so well, you get in this film. At least you get in sections. And the visuals in this film look very similar to the visuals in Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, to the point that I was watching it thinking, maybe we should give Gareth Edwards more credit for this film. Maybe we should give Gareth Edwards more credit for Rogue One than he's actually gotten, because it feels like a lot now. Tony Gilroy is getting all that credit, and I'm not saying he shouldn't. Clearly he was involved in the production of that film. Go and look it up online if you don't believe me. But maybe we should still give Gareth Edwards some credit, because the visuals in this film still like the visuals in Rogue One, and I liked that. And I'm still looking forward to what Gareth Edwards does next. I'm still looking forward to that, because I'm a fan of his previous two films, and I think his next film could be fantastic. This film, it wasn't for me. you know, there's one scene in this film that exemplifies what I feel about the film as a whole. There's a moment where a car drives through these authoritative people, these people who are checking all these cars, and the car drives through and all these children in the car, and then John David Washington's character says something along the lines of, "Did you enjoy that?" And it's meant to be this exciting and entertaining moment. At least I thought it was. And I was sat there in the cinema and I wanted to go, no, I did enjoy that, John David Washington. I did enjoy that moment. And why didn't I enjoy that moment? Because it wasn't exciting and it didn't grab me. I didn't find it nearly as engaging as I wanted to. And I liked some of the ideas, but I don't feel the execution was there, and the storytelling just didn't really work for me. And yeah, just because a film is original doesn't mean it's good. You know, all these people saying, I love the fact that this film's original. Yeah, it is a positive. I'm not saying it's not, but it doesn't make the film good all of a sudden. At least it doesn't for me. It doesn't for me. You know. And the thing is, I might like this film in a couple of years' time. Maybe if I watch it again in a different environment, I might feel differently about it. Because I remember the first time I watched Dune, all the way back in 2021, I remember not liking the film that much on my first watch. And so we can hear some bikes outside right now. I remember not liking the film too much on my first watch. And then I re-watched it and I loved it. So maybe I'll feel the same way. But I remember at least enjoying Dune on that first watch. And I didn't really enjoy this film. And it pains me to say that because I wanted this film to be great. I really did. And there is a lot to admire, and I can see why somebody would absolutely adore this film and would analyse it to pieces and might be one of somebody's favourite movies of the year and all that jazz. It just wasn't my kind of film. I can understand why people would love it. I really can, and it's breathtaking to watch. I just struggled with it myself. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that the creator... I'm going to say it's a 5 out of 10. It's another film that I almost feel bad for giving a rating to. I felt the same way about Dumb Money because I didn't totally get that film, I'm going to be honest. And I felt the same way about another film I watched not too long ago. I almost feel bad for giving this film a rating because it just... I don't think it was my sort of film. And that's fine. You know, not all films are going to be aimed at me. And that's totally fine, you know. As I mentioned, my type of sci-fi movies are the ones that really are exciting and make you, and have heart and make you smile and just, you know. I'm not saying this film doesn't have heart. I'm not saying that. There's a clear heart in the film, which I really liked in the relationship between the main character and this AI boy. But I didn't feel that strongly connected to it as I wanted to. I felt connected to it to a degree, but I also felt there was a barrier there. And it also reminded me a lot of Steven Spielberg's AI Artificial Intelligence from 2001. I don't know if anyone's seen that film, but if you have, that film, it starts off fantastic. I love the first hour of Spielberg's AI. I think it's phenomenal. And then it goes so downhill to the point that I struggle to get to the end of that film. I mean, I've only seen it twice, but the second time I really struggled to finish that film because of how slow it got. And I feel similar about this film. Although I think this film has a better finale than Spielberg's AI, I struggled. I struggled with this film, and it pains me to say it because it is just beautiful and breathtakingly original, and it does have this epic scale to it as well. It does feel like an epic, and I really liked the world building, and there is so much to admire. I just wish I liked the film. I just wish it worked for me. But I'm still looking forward to what Gareth Edwards does next, and I don't know. This film just wasn't for me. I lost my train of thought there. This film just wasn't for me, but that's totally fine. You know, that's totally fine. It just is what it is. And so, all in all, as I've titled this video today, The Creator is a breathtakingly original yet unexciting sci-fi epic. And that's pretty much my thoughts on the film as a whole. And so, as already said, I'm going to say that The Creator, I'm going to say that it's a 5 out of 10 from me. Anyway, guys, that's it for the podcast for today. What do you think of The Creator? If you loved the film, that's great. I really wish I did. And let me know why you loved the film in the comment section below, because honestly, I would love to hear it. I really, really would. But if you feel similar to me if you feel similar to me and you watched or listened to this podcast today, let me know your thoughts on The Creator as well in the comment section below. And if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like, subscribe on this podcast, and look forward to many more podcasts coming very, very soon on this channel. As I said, thank you as always for watching or listening to this podcast, and I will see you guys again soon. But bye for now. Bye.